why you're going to lose this week, all right? It's not going to be your defense. It's going to be kind of your offense. And, of course, it's not I'm not saying that you're going to go out there and lay an egg as a coach. Let's talk about the injuries, right? No Mostert, no Trent Williams, no Deebo Samuel, no Brandon Ayuk. Yikes. So your only good offensive lineman won't be playing. Both of your starting wide receivers out. Your starting running back out. Jimmy Garoppolo out. Nick Mullins out. You're going against a defense that hasn't given up more than 17 points since November. It's going to be bad. What's going to happen is they're going to shut down Jeff Wilson Jr. Jeff Wilson Jr. isn't going to run for 100 yards in this game. CJ Beathard's going to have to put the offense on his back without his starting wide receivers, and that's going to go really bad. He's going to get sacked a lot of times. He's going to turn the ball over. And here's the thing, like, it's not going to be all CJ Beathard's fault, right? Because he's behind a bad offensive line and his starting wide receivers aren't there. But the thing is, CJ Beathard still stinks. And that's your fault, Kyle. The fact that he's in the NFL and on this team is your fault. If you hadn't drafted him, he'd be out of the league by now. He never should have been a third-round pick. He wasn't good enough to play at Tennessee. He wasn't good. He would have been lucky to play at Vanderbilt. I don't know how he got to play at Iowa, but that guy wasn't good enough to play at like 3/4 of the schools in the SEC. He's not an NFL player. He hasn't earned anything in the NFL. It was great that he could hand off and not lose the game last week. That was really nice. But he's basically an undrafted free agent who was a third-round pick because his grandfather's Bobby Beathard. I still believe that CJ's in the league and on the team because of some favor you and your dad are paying to Bobby Beathard. Maybe Bobby Beathard did your dad a favor in 1984, 1987, and you owe him something. But that's I just don't understand it. And this is a game where CJ's going to have to actually play like an NFL quarterback instead of an NFL handoff or game manager. Going to have to play like the third-round pick he was supposed to be, and he can't. Watching him on film is just, it makes you look bad. He doesn't even try to play with proper mechanics. He just goes out and wings it. And then a couple of days ago, he spoke to the media and someone said, what are your goals for the offseason? How are you going to approach the offseason? Like, I think the question was like, how are you going to make yourself better? And his answer was, he's going to spend a lot of time with his family and rededicate himself to the scripture. I'm sorry. Maybe I'm hard on CJ Beathard. I just really feel like he doesn't deserve to be in the NFL. He hasn't earned it. If his name was CJ Smith and he wasn't related to Bobby Beathard, he wouldn't have been a third-round pick. He wouldn't have been drafted. He probably wouldn't have been a starter at Iowa. Now, he did win games at Iowa. Great. He would not be in the NFL if his name was CJ Smith. So I don't know if you fell for the bloodline thing or if you really needed to pay Bobby Beathard back on some 1984 debt or whatever. But that's why you're going to lose to Seattle, because of CJ Beathard. He's on your team. And you now need him to be a quarterback, and he can't. I'm sorry. Maybe I'm wrong. I know people probably saying, like, well, what about Nick Mullins, right? What about Nick Mullins, right? Well, Nick Mullins wasn't a draft pick. Nick Mullins earned his way to whatever he got. Doesn't mean he's necessarily a starter. CJ never earned anything. Never earned anything. He got credit when Jeff Wilson Jr. ran for 180. So, sorry, Kyle. I mean, I know you feel like your hands are tied, but you put yourself in this situation. CJ Beathard, man. Guy couldn't have played at Nebraska. Couldn't have played at Oklahoma. He couldn't have played. CJ Beathard couldn't have played at Stanford. They would have been like, oh, he's a little frumpy for us. No. And he's on the Niners? Really makes you look bad, Kyle. You can never have a quarterback this bad on your team ever again. Makes you look really bad.